I'm like, no, she's doing a microwave. She got
All right. So I can gush all day, and I'm going to, but first I want you guys to be able to introduce yourselves as you'd like to introduce yourselves, and then we kind of get into it, and then I'm just going to gush all over all of you. You ready?
Hi there, my name is Kevin Singera, and I co-directed Cinching Saddles.
Hi, my name is Natasha Krishnan, and I play the lead on Potluck Ladies.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Shazia Javed, and I am the producer, writer, and director.
उधर भी चालू होगा
Hi, I'm Priyanka Desai, and I'm the festival manager of FISAP. Oh, sorry, I'm that. But I'm the director and co-producer for Not Your Butter Chicken.
And I'm Shiva Reddy from Not Your Butter Chicken.
Well, you guys, first of all, thank you so much for being here so we can chat with you about your amazing. Interesting, because not only are they such great pieces of content, but they all, and so like varying, but they all have they have a lot of similarities in very interesting ways. And a big one is kind of the reason why we wanted to program them together and program them this year for the theme that we have, which is Crossroads. I think there's just a lot of really interesting ways in which representation intersects in each of these projects, each of these shows, whether it's through cultures, through accents, whether it's through different women dealing with similar situations in life, but in different ways. I think, and of course, through the South Asian cultures and how we look through the South Asian culture, but different avenues of this and angles of the South Asian culture through food and wine and all that good stuff. So I think, you know, you guys are kind of the epitome of what our theme is. And so, you know, it's really exciting to have you all to chat about it a little bit. So can I actually ask you, for the first question, this will be for all of you, can you talk a little bit about the process of actually figuring out how to put your themes together and put them into an episodic format? Like, why choose episodic as your format for your projects?
Oh, you got it. So, Cinching Saddles was a last-minute situation. We had planned to do a short film called Bobblehead, but it was in January last year, and there was a snowstorm, and DPs couldn't get out, grips couldn't get out. So my good friend Aman, and co-director, he flew in from Toronto to shoot it. And I said, you know, buddy, I got this idea in my head. Why don't we just go to the ranch and shoot something? And he says, I really want to play some video games tonight, man. And I said, come on, let's go. So we ended up going, and it was all improvisation, the whole thing. And I wish that there was more meaning for it, but really it was really just to get some giggles out of everybody, kind of forget the stresses of real life, and just have some fun. So that's kind of where we went with it.
It was great. I like that.
Yeah, so, I mean, to me, it was really important to tell a story about South Asian women that were like fully developed character arcs, author backgrounds, shades of, joys and struggles, everything thrown in together. But also I wanted to say that we're all not the same. Like, there's diversity within, there's weight-based diversity, there's difference in what you want in life. Someone may want to be a homemaker, someone may want to teach the world. So that's why I wanted as many women in there as possible. And because there were these ongoing storylines and there's so much richness with all that can happen in there, this had to be a series, episodic. And I did have a broadcaster on board early on, from early dev days. And they also kind of wanted this format, so I think it aligned.
Amazing. As filmmakers, I think we are filmmakers because we have something to say. And I think episodics really give us the opportunity to say a lot over multiple episodes, but also the opportunity to dig deeper and dive into the different facets of the story that we want to tell. So each episode can actually give you a space and time to actually dive deeper and bring your point across in a more meaningful way. With Not Your Butter Chicken, the whole idea started as a series, and it was always was about food and how can you fit Indian food into one episode? Come on, So we have to make an episodic and that to a multi-episodic one. So yeah.
Well, I want to start with you guys for the next question here. Can you actually tell us a little bit about the process of putting the themes together with food, with different areas of Canada? And Shiva, for you in particular, you had to get really vulnerable in your real life to talk about some of the issues that are then brought up with the families and other people that you're meeting across the episodes, not just the one that we got to watch today. So can you talk a little bit about what that process was like for you as well?
Yeah, I think for me, I just cried like a baby at the end there, hearing my mom say what she said. It was like, ooh. So talking here, I'm already there right now. But I feel like it's that thing where you grow up and you're told to be tough. You're told to have this exterior, and nobody wins from that. And so I found that, yeah, I might get in a bit of trouble, but the moment that you start actually talking about what's going on, how you're feeling, especially I grew up in very homogenous spaces all around Vancouver, playing hockey, going to school, and as soon as I started speaking about what I was dealing with and I met other people of color, everybody's dealing with the same thing, but we all have to essentially shut up about it. And so going to these incredible small towns where there's so much rich South Asian history, they're all lost. Nobody wants to talk about it because it doesn't seem sexy, but everybody had this incredible story to tell, and the moment that you bring food into the picture, it's like the doors open and you're at home again.
Yeah, food in a very kind of clear way does universally connect all of us, right? It doesn't really necessarily matter what the type of food is, as long as that's kind of the entry point in for so many people for any culture, really. So it makes a lot of sense that you use that as your starting point to then kind of lead into all the personal stuff that a lot of us, I'm sure, have dealt with, or have experienced what you talked about in that episode and also, the other episodes as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I find there's something, it's not in this one, but there was something about roti that we talked about when we went to Fort McMurray, out of all places. My goodness, there was so much food there was so much culture, and it was just so vibrant. And we were speaking with this one woman named Shweta, who had this incredible career as an actress, journalist, and she literally gave it up for marriage, for love, and she traveled all across the world to a place where nobody knew her. And there was something about rotis, the idea of making rotis and being connected with your past despite the fact that your family's so far away, and then also being able to carry that lore forward with her own kids was just so incredible as well.
Yeah.
Also, I think food is never just food, right?
Yeah.
Food just means so much more. Like she said, roti, and in that episode we dive into the impact of migration on women, and that is told through roti, because roti is such a laborious food, no one wants to make it, only, and it's always the women who make it, right? And so how can you use food as a tool to tell these stories of lived experiences is something that we wanted to do, and that's why I just want to quickly take a moment and introduce Karnail Singh ji, who was so kind enough to share his story in Kelowna, because what he said in the episode about, trying, he doesn't drink, but he's making wine, and he's an engineer, and he went door to door and asked for jobs. And this is incredible, Karnail Singh ji, that you actually made it a point to put this across, that we can make wines and we can make it better.
Oh, that is true. First of all, I want to say thank you to you guys, and really you think out of box, because most South Asian media stuck this side of Episodic. Nobody get out. Nobody know how much history we have in the rest of the BC and what we're doing on our side of the mountains.
Yeah.
Right? I really congratulate you on that, doing that, right? And second, you have to do something to prove yourself. And racism, as I always say, racism comes from lack of knowledge. You have to tell people about you. How you tell it is your way to telling people. Because I can ask a question, people ask me, oh, you know anything about agriculture? Right? My answer is always, I'm from Punjab. Right? Some people say, what do you mean? Right? I say, if I don't know anything about agriculture, India shouldn't have that much population. We produce 80% food for that country, and it's a land mass of Punjab is only 1.5% of total land mass of India. Right? Because that is, I'd say, lack of knowledge. They don't know who we are. We have to tell them. And sometimes I think getting upset with people is not work good as you talk to them, explain them who you are.
Yeah, for sure.
And you tell through your work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I want to go back for a second to something, Priyanka, that you said about road use and how it's so laborious and women are the ones who are usually doing this. And now I want to pivot to Potluck Ladies, because one of the things that you guys have in common, I think, is this idea of bringing people together through food. And we see in your show that these women are essentially doing everything for their entire families all by themselves, while also having to deal with the fact that they are married women who don't have their person with them. So I think, so here's my question to you guys is, how did you balance teaching audiences about this concept, about the fact that this is a regular thing that happens, along with the deep elements that come with that and the lighthearted moments that come with that? I mean, in particular, I think we all kind of know this experience, the lady who's bragging about her son. You know, it was like, and then the quote of "want for a wife, very," you know what I mean? It's like, I think we all kind of know that experience, but at the same time, we may not also understand the experience of, oh, my husband's in the Middle East and I'm taking care of all these people, and I'm also dealing with, you know, whether it's weight issues or a possible divorce, etc. Like, how did you figure out how to balance the light and heavy moments of also kind of teaching people that's something they may not know?
Yeah, so as I said, for me, it was important to carry a range of emotions through the show because, I mean, a lot of times we just don't have the space, the bandwidth to be full-fledged human beings, right? We are either breaking stereotypes or we are being fit into stereotypes, and I'm kind of done with that. I just want more stories.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm a first-generation immigrant too, and I feel like a lot of times stories of especially first-generation immigrant women are just like, okay, she's a controlling mom, she wants her kids to be doctors, but who is she? What does she want? Like, she has dreams, aspirations, struggles. So I wanted to bring that in, and in that, as life is for anybody, you will have these moments, these space you create for yourself, and you will join your friends, you will have fun, you will have laughter, you will gossip, there will be envy, there will be jealousy, and then you might have your weight issues, someone might be going through a divorce, and still there are those societal stigmas around divorce and everything. So there's just so many layers to it. And yeah, I think I really enjoyed that challenge of bringing all of that in, the richness. And I mean, I'll give a shout out, of course, to my other writers. I think Rahul Chaturvedi, who's not there, who wrote Ep 2 and 3, and he and I co-wrote 4. So if you like this, you can watch the rest of the show on Prime Video. It's available in Canada. Little plug there.
Good, I was actually going to get to that, so I'm glad you brought it up.
But yeah, I mean, and as far as teaching is concerned, you know what, we had this discussion and I straight on decided I'm not explaining anything to anybody. I'm not teaching anyone anything. As you just said, we just tell our story, we tell who we are, and when you do that, people connect with the humanity of it. Once we did that, there are people from so many other cultures who came where they said, yeah, you know what, we also do these potlucks, or there are so many families that have been separated because of economic, you know, challenges they're facing, or other, so many communities related to this, or somebody related to maybe weight issues, and that's where it became universal. So I actually really didn't have to do any teaching. I just had to tell the story and put it forward. And then, of course, the actors to come from there and bring on their own shades. I don't know, I think I saw Adeline somewhere. I don't know if he's still here, but
He's here somewhere.
yeah, I think I saw him somewhere.
He's somewhere.
But
Watch him be in the restroom or
here's
something.
Sumera, and we'll let her talk about it.
I feel like life is a combination of the good, bad, and the ugly. And I think Shazia did such a great job at bringing all of those elements together in such a subtle way. It's important, I feel like, to show our immigrant experiences, and it's important for people like us to come forward and to tell those stories so you can see our challenges as well as our victories. I think that's very important. And the fact that she touched upon the topic of Begumpura, which is actually a wives' colony in Mississauga. I thought that was very clever of her to do that, because there's actually these women who live in these colonies taking care of their children while their husbands work abroad and they're working other jobs. Because they earn a better living over there. They don't get jobs as per their qualifications over here. So I think it's very important to see that, and it's important to see like our silly moments and our laughters and our joys, and you know what it's like to take care of a family alone, what it's like to be a single mother, what it's like to deal with stigmas around mental health and the taboos around divorce and body shaming. And I don't think these are just South Asian related topics. I think these are universal things that we deal with as a human beings. I feel like people from all walks of life would be able to take away something from the show, and I think that's the most heartwarming part about the show.
Absolutely, 100%. All right, Kevin, I know that you said that this is like, you kind of did this as for giggles and for laughs, and it's a lighthearted, nice kind of escape for people. But I have to say, the first time I saw your show, first time I saw Cinching Saddles, I had a flashback to my own childhood. I grew up in small town Texas.
Did you really?
I did. Where there were, small town Texas. Where it was like us and like 3 or maybe 4 other Asian families, not South Asian, Asian families. And I remember people that some of the other kids from some of the other families had a little twang.
Yeah.
Because you got, and so it's funny because I know you're saying it's like a lighthearted thing, but I had a very visceral reaction of like, oh, it's code switching. It's this code switching thing that we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So I like, as funny as it is, it's such a riot, the show. I mean, it is kind of a look at like assimilation a little bit, but just to the extreme. Is that anything, did that come up at all for you guys?
It's funny that you say that. I think that Cinch is kind of an exaggerated version of the younger children generation kind of wanting to do different things, not, becoming a doctor or a dentist or a lawyer. And we just kind of felt he was such an exaggerated form of that, that it would be fun to kind of play with a cowboy. I mean, what could you do besides being a lawyer, doctor, or a cowboy? We just thought that would be funny. So, no, we're very excited at how it turned out. This is our 30th film festival this year that we've been selected.
Amazing!
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and we just a production company just took 50% of it. We're making it a television series now.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so it's really fun, and Aman and I never thought that any of this would be happening from our little Cinching Saddles. So we're really excited.
And you said that there was like, a good amount of improv and stuff like that, especially the moments where you're like, oh, I have to go bring her this thing, and then you come back around, like, that's not the right thing. Like, is that like, those were the moments where you're just kind of playing around?
The whole thing, it was so funny trying to convince my family. That was all my family that was in it. And I was like, Mom, I just need you to sit in the chair, but ask you some questions. Like, I'm busy, I can't do this. And my dad, that was his true reactions every day, by the way. You're a disappointment. So, So, no, we had a lot of fun with it.
Brilliant, I love that. Priyanka, I'm going to bother you for a hot second. And actually, Potluck Ladies, like, this actually goes hand in hand with you guys, too. Both of you have shows where the food is shot so deliciously, is the only way I can kind of put it. Did you have very specific intentions on how you were going to shoot the actual food shots, like the insert shots of food, etc.?
I mean, it's honestly really easy because Indian food really looks delicious. Like, come on. But we didn't want to. I definitely wanted to show the richness of the food and how classy and neat and elegant it is, because as Shiva mentions in the episode, whenever we think about butter chicken, first of all, whenever we think about Indian food, we think about butter chicken, and that's why we had this title, that it's not your butter chicken. But I think whenever we think about Indian food, it is never the way that we think about European food or any kind of French or Italian food. We don't think when we want to go for a really nice dine out, we don't think, oh, let's have Indian food. No, we always think about Indian food when we are like, it's late night, we're hungry, we want to eat something, yummy. And I think that's something that I definitely wanted to change. I really wanted the food to look as beautiful as it is, and have to give a shout out to Rich Strand and Lon Gross. Lon Gross also edited the film, so edited the show. I think they did a fantastic job. They both are not Indian, but they love Indian food, and that love really, really shows on the screen. So, yeah.
Well, I just got really hungry watching your show. We have to go find some pakoras now. That's all I know.
We are in Surrey, so
It's a really great place to find it, for sure.
I mean, for me, it was part of the broader story of these women coming together and bringing, recipes that they're proud of, or something that's their specialty, and also been a part of. Oh, it's not working. Can you hear me? All good? Yeah. So it was, I think, this part of coming together. When you come together, you bring your own recipes, and it's also something you take pride in. Cooking good food. And feeding other people, but it's also a love language, right? You spend so much time prepping that biryani and the layers and layers of rice and meat and baking, and then decorating it with, all the herbs and everything. So this is a love language which you then bring to your friends and your family. And a little, tribute in there to chai. That we I made her make chai so many times, and I think in every episode she's making chai. And I personally like chai with elaichi, so you will see her putting elaichi in the pot and boiling it. And I wanted it made the traditional way, not with a tea bag, with loose tea leaves. That's how we do it authentically. So I think just bringing in that authenticity of our lives and how we gather with each other to the show. I think that's what was important to me.
And Kevin, one of the things that I love about the show, now, especially now that I know that it's improv, is you have some really funny inserts. Like, for example, talking about the truck, and then you cut to it's the insert of the Range Rover brand and stuff. Is that stuff that you guys were just making jokes on set, and you were like, oh crap, now I have to figure out ways to edit that in so that it makes sense?
Yeah, Aman is very upset with me. He had so much editing to do, and I wish that. We had to try to narrow it down for 8 minutes, but some of the bloopers in there was just, we really wish we could have put it in there.
Well, now that you have a TV show in the works, you're going to have to actually put the bloopers in.
Yeah, no, it was, we're really excited. One thing that just came out that we're allowed to talk about is that Bryan Adams is just finished the theme song for it. Ooh. And he's going to be doing the music production for the whole thing. So
amazing.
Yeah.
All right, well, we have to wrap it up, sadly, because I could talk to you guys for hours. Priyanka knows. She's had to deal with me for weeks and months now. But before we go, now that we know, this very special news about Cinching Saddles, and we've heard that Potluck Ladies is on Amazon, can you guys talk about where people can see Not Your Butter Chicken?
So currently, Not Your Butter Chicken is available in BC and Alberta only on TELUS Originals, who are the primary funders of the series. But we are soon going to CBC. So we are very excited for that, and we are also currently looking for distribution in the US. So
amazing. And I want to shout out Get Up Aisha too. It's on CBC Gen. That you can check that one out there as well. So. Thank y'all so much.
I heard that. You hear that, y'all? We got my Texas girls in here.
You have the hat on. I saw it immediately. I switched. Thank you so much for being here. The work is amazing, and obviously everyone had a really good time watching. We really appreciate y'all being a part of the